What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here with your $600 second stimulus check update and your $2,000 third stimulus check update. There's a lot of crazy news going on. Yeah, it's just every hour by the hour, there's basically new information coming out regarding all these different buckets of money, the mortgage and rental assistance, this new $3,000 per year for children stimulus. That's basically $250 to $300 an hour that I covered in the last video or two. And in this video, let's start with the next stimulus package. We're going to hear from the problem solvers group. This is the group that actually got the second stimulus package done. Okay, remember we had that big delay before the second stimulus check package, and basically the problem solvers group, which is a group of men and congressmen and congresswomen from Congress, both Republicans and Democrats. It's a bipartisan group. They're the ones that actually came together and got the second stimulus check package done. And let's hear what they have to say now about the third stimulus check. We're going to hear from one Republican, one Democrat, the leaders of the problem solvers group. Then we're going to come back and we're going to hear from Biden. We're going to hear from Bernie Sanders and more regarding all the different buckets of money, stimulus check money coming out in the near future, as well as mortgage assistance. But if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe down below. It's completely free. Help us reach our goal of 300,000 subscribers. We're almost there. So all subscribing does is make YouTube make it more able for you to see our videos. YouTube will recommend them to you so you don't miss out on new upcoming videos. And click the bell icon next to the subscribe button so you get notifications when we go live. We will have an 11 p.m. video tonight because there is just too much news to even cover per video right now. And 11 p.m. tonight, remember you got to tune in on your own for that. You won't get a notification. So at 11 p.m. Eastern time, just go on YouTube, type in It's Jimmy, and watch the latest video. All right, let's jump into the Problem Solvers Caucus group.
President Biden is expected to sign two executive orders this afternoon, one of them bolstering food aid and the other one aimed at protecting workers and promoting a $15 minimum wage for federal employees. These moves follow actions yesterday on combating COVID-19 and Wednesday's orders on issues ranging from energy leasing to evictions and student loan relief. Joining us right now to talk about everything we've seen and what we expect to come is New Jersey Representative Josh Gottheimer. Also, New York Representative Tom Reed. They are the co-chairs of the bipartisan Problem Solvers Caucus. And gentlemen, what we've heard this week have been messages of unity coming from President Biden, and I'm sure that's music to both of your ears. Let's talk a little bit about what we've seen, though. And Congressman Reed, I'll start with you since you're the Republican at the table. What do you think of the early executive orders that we've seen, of the early request for COVID-19 funding?
Well, obviously I'm concerned about some of these executive orders and some of the action they're taking, and I disagree with them, like the energy leasing proposal in particular. I think we should be developing our energy resources, not cutting them off for energy security and economic reasons. But that being said, I've always said when President Obama was in office, when President Trump was in office, executive orders can be done by executive orders, but they can be undone by executive orders. And the better policy is to get policy that's bipartisan, that's supported. And that's the long-term legacy effect that we need to do. And that's why people like us in the Problem Solvers Caucus can come together, find common ground. And that's where we're going to have to keep going forward. And one of the areas of common ground should be COVID. Getting it in the history books as soon as possible. That helps all Americans. And that's what we should be focusing on, in my opinion, right now to find common ground.
Okay, well, let's talk about that. COVID first, Congressman Gottheimer. $1.9 trillion. Is that something that you can get both sides of your caucus lined up and say, okay, this is a bill we need to pass, or are there sticking points in that you don't think that the problem solvers would be behind?
Well, and good morning. We're still getting all the details of that package. What is clear is that the work we did at the end of the year and the package that Tom and I and the Problem Solvers Caucus, along with a bipartisan group of senators, worked on was to get emergency relief out as quickly as possible, which we did, and to get us through the first quarter. The challenge is March will come fast, so we have to get to work on making sure that we can keep getting out resources, as Tom just said, to fight COVID, to beat COVID, get those vaccines out, to help our families through a very tough time with food relief, which I know the president's working on today, but also more resources for unemployment, which will roll off in March, that extra unemployment dollars, And of course, state and local resources, which is something we didn't get in the last package, and a lot of our municipalities are hurting. But the bottom line is, and some of this was done through executive action already, we've got to get the help to beat the vaccine, get those resources out there. We're not going fast enough. The virus continues to ravage the country. We know we've lost 400,000 people, and unfortunately, it's speeding up, not slowing down. So we've got to get ahead of it. And I think that's what's going to be key in whatever package we put out, to make sure we have the resources to do that and to help us and our small businesses and families get through these rough months ahead.
Congressman Reed, let's just focus on the COVID-19 package. Obviously, things are still firming up, but we know where the initial markers have been laid down, and you can probably pretty easily tell what the third rails are in that. One of them would have to be the $350 billion for state and municipalities. Another would be the $15 minimum wage. What do the Republicans in your caucus have to say about those issues? Is that something that you think you can find bipartisan support on, or will they continue to be the sticking points they have to this point?
Well, I think we have to first take a deep breath on the $900 billion that we did on the stimulus package that Josh and I and the Problem Solvers Caucus, a gang of 8 in the Senate, worked on and got delivered to the American people. So we got to see where that money goes. And then at that point in time, then we can have a healthy conversation about some of the remaining issues. And state and local aid is obviously going to be part of that conversation. Liability reform is also going to be part of that conversation, because the lawsuits are now starting to pile up. And anybody who thinks that lawsuit and liability reform is going to go away and needs to be addressed is living in a fairyland, because those liability concerns are real. People are losing their defense coverage under their liability insurance policies. And so we're going to have to deal with state and local and liability coverage here in short order. And so I think there's an opportunity to do a package there. But when you're talking about $1.9 trillion right immediately on top of $900 billion that hasn't even gone out of the Treasury's offices yet, it literally has just been approved and is being distributed as we speak, I think it's a little premature to start talking about another $1.9 trillion in total until we actually see how this money of $900 billion impacts the economy and where we stand as the vaccine that we need to come together on today gets rolled out and solves this issue of COVID-19 herd immunity that we all need to get to as soon as possible.
Now, of course, that last one was the Republican point of view. And, the Republicans didn't really even want to pass the second stimulus check package, but they did. And, of course, now they're saying, well, it's very soon. A lot of the second stimulus check money hasn't even gone out yet. It's literally only been a few weeks. A lot of people haven't even got their second stimulus check yet. And that's the Republican stance. The Democrat stance are, well, let me show you. Chuck Schumer, who is now the Senate Majority Leader, the new Mitch McConnell in the Senate, says the American people chose to retire 4 Republican senators and elect a Democratic majority to the Senate. Senator McConnell's proposal for how to organize the Senate is unacceptable, and it won't be accepted. Senators Bernie Sanders, who's now the Senate Budget Chairman, and Senator Elizabeth Warren, who is one of the main people behind the $200 per month Social Security increase and the student loan forgiveness, both say that the Senate Democratic majority will be used in a very aggressive way if the GOP tries to block stimulus. And that means that they will use their reconciliation card when needed, and the Democrats are not afraid to use this. What this does, again, this is a special card here. Only certain people get this. You use this in the Senate when you want to pass a bill with only 51 votes. And this is what the Democrats have said that they're going to do. The Republicans used this in the past with the Trump tax cuts to pass that with only 51 votes. So basically, the Democrats are saying, well, we want to have Republican support, but if we don't, we're going to pass several stimulus checks and stimulus packages with our reconciliation cards without Republican support. So Republicans better get on board or they're going to pass it without them. Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders says he's prepared to pass major Senate Budget Committee legislation with a simple 51 vote majority. And he and other progressive lawmakers warned Republicans not to stall the next stimulus relief package because, well, we have the majority. Sanders and Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren have made independent remarks this week stressing that Democrats must deliver for America, even if congressional Republicans plan or try to hold up the next stimulus relief bill. Progressives are urging President Joe Biden and fellow Democratic lawmaker to capitalize on their first Senate majority in 6 years by leveraging the recently demoted Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell is currently threatening filibusters and other obstructionist moves to slow Democrats' momentum. But Bernie Sanders said he will not hesitate to push bills through the budget committee with or without GOP help, aka Republican help, something he can accomplish through a process known as budget reconciliation. Bernie Sanders says we cannot reach out to Republicans indefinitely, or we cannot wait for Republicans indefinitely. If they choose to not come on board to help the American people now, we have the majority. We should use that majority. Next up, let's hear from President Joe Biden on stimulus.
We're going to finish the job of getting a total of $2,000 in direct payments to folks. $600, which was already passed, is simply not enough if you still have to choose between paying your rent, putting food on the table. We'll extend unemployment insurance benefits for millions of workers beyond the deadline that's now set. It means that 16 million Americans who are currently relying on unemployment benefits while they look for work can count on these checks continuing to be there in the middle of this crisis.
And here is now Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer on the Senate.
We have offered to abide by the same agreement the last time there was a 50-50 Senate. What's fair is fair. That is precedent. We could organize the Senate today if both sides agreed to abide by the same rules as last time. The Republican leader, however, has made an extraneous demand that would place additional constraints on the majority, constraints that have never been in place before. In fact, his proposal would remove a tool that the Republican leader himself used twice in just the last Congress to accelerate the confirmation of Republican nominees. Leader McConnell's proposal is unacceptable, and it won't be accepted. And the Republican leader knew that when he first proposed it. Only 2 days ago, Mr. President, we celebrated the inauguration of a new president and the turning over of a new leaf. The American people want us to work together and move past the meaningless political fights and gridlock that have plagued us for too long. It's time to get to work. The first step is for the Republican caucus to agree to follow the same precedent that governed the Senate last time around.
So basically, it looks like the Democrats are going to use their reconciliation card if needed. They're going to try to get Republican support and basically get 10 Republicans in the Senate to say yes to this next stimulus package with the stimulus checks in there, with the additional money for mortgage and rental assistance in there. There's $25 billion in this next package for mortgage and rental assistance, along with $5 billion for utility assistance. There's an unemployment boost raise to $400 instead of $300. The stimulus checks are going to be at least $1,400 for adults, which is the highest stimulus check that we've had yet. $1,400 for children, which is more than double any stimulus check we've had in the past for children. In the past, they were $500 and $600. Now we're looking at $1,400. And that the third stimulus check will be for adult dependents based on the outline of the package that we've received from the Biden administration. This is really good news because adult dependents, someone who's on a tax return of somebody else, they're dependent on somebody else's tax return, missed out completely on the second stimulus check and the first stimulus check. So it looks like they will be getting the third stimulus check and $1,400, and they possibly might be getting the first and second stimulus checks also, because this third stimulus check is expected to be at least $1,400, if not $2,000 in its entirety, plus the $600. There's already multiple Democrats fighting to raise this third stimulus check from $1,400 to $2,000. Most notably, Congresswoman AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, is kind of the leader for the movement to make these third stimulus checks higher. The leader of the movements for basically the $200 Social Security increase is Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and Elizabeth Warren, and kind of Joe Biden. Joe Biden has it on his own website as one of his campaign goals that he wants to do. And also on the student loan forgiveness, we also have both Chuck Schumer and Elizabeth Warren. Also, those are kind of like the names to remember, along with Bernie Sanders, as Bernie Sanders is now the Senate Budget Chairman, and he has a much more powerful role in the Senate now. Bernie Sanders and now Vice President Kamala Harris, who's now the first woman vice president, those two were the ones that have pushed for the $2,000 per month stimulus check packages, basically $2,000 per month of stimulus checks until the pandemic is over. Well, this was previous. Now Kamala Harris is vice president. Vice president is also considered the president of the Senate. Bernie Sanders is now considered Joe Biden's right-hand man, Kamala Harris being possibly the left-hand woman, right-hand woman. Right-hand woman and right-hand man, Bernie Sanders and Kamala Harris, are probably the two closest people to Joe Biden. And these are the two that have wanted and pushed for the $2,000 per month stimulus checks until the pandemic is over. Now, this is different than the brand new bill that we're getting details on that is coming out through the pipeline right now, that is basically expanding the child tax credit. And instead of giving you a tax credit for children of $2,000, they want to give you $3,000 in the form of monthly checks for children you have. There's already a $2,000 tax credit out there for children. Instead of making a tax credit, they want to increase it to a monthly check instead of a tax credit. And I will be having more details for you guys on the 11 p.m. video. Yeah, remember we have 11 p.m. Eastern time videos every night now because there's so much news, but you won't get a notification, so make sure you just tune into YouTube on those. Make sure you're subscribed down below with the bell icon on so you get notifications. New videos come out every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m., and now 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can click this top video here to watch my newest stimulus check video next. And this bottom video is about the brand new $3,000 stimulus checks for children. Click on one of those videos to watch them next. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.